Baptist church. But let's be honest, how many of us really go to church that much? Hallelujah. Right. Jesus loves you. Okay, so, but I questioned, and I was planning with the idea of trying to get in contact with somebody from Toastmasters, and Ashley Newton said that Ashley Wood would be a great person, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce her right now so she can tell us how public speaking can benefit our careers, our lives, and even help you to speak for people who are not articulate enough to speak for themselves. So Ashley Wood is a native of Montgomery, Alabama. She graduated from Faulkner University. She has several years of corporate experience in HR, and she works for our own region's bank as a what is it? See, I had this memorized until I started thinking. A corporate compensation analyst. So she makes sure you're supposed to be paid what you're supposed to be paid. And with all of that, Ashley also has time to volunteer with the Junior League as a district area officer, and she still has time to work with Toastmasters International as an area director. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Miss Ashley, and she's going to tell us the benefits of speaking and how Toastmasters can make that happen for us.
I know I see
pictures. I got somebody back there.
But do we have any further or any more Toastmasters in the audience?
We make toast all the time.
And also, may I move this
Yeah.
right here? Thank you very much. All right. So I know that we're doing okay. I want to talk about Toastmasters in a few different ways. I know that we're going to talk about the benefits, but I want to target it a certain way. Let me tell you why first I joined Toastmasters. I had a humongous fear of public speaking. Who else has currently a fear of public speaking? Raise your hand. I'm just glad you raised your hand.
I won't be.
Because when I was first asked that, I was so fearful I couldn't even raise my hand. I was that person who said no to hosting events, even though I'm typically outgoing, especially in small groups, and I meet people well. But every time I got asked to do something, hey, come lead this, or hey, come speak for so-and-so, I had to say no, because I knew that I was not going to be able to complete it confidently and efficiently. I was that person that, had the paper and I hope I do okay. That is nerve-wracking for someone who has a fear of public speaking. And I got so fed up one day that I said, you know what, I'm just going to do something about it. I have this personal mantra that my life should match. And so I wanted my outgoing small group experience to match my public speaking experience. So I sought out, just Googled public speaking groups, and I came across Toastmasters. I got to that first meeting, and I hated everything about it because they wanted you to participate, and that is just not what I was ready to do, even though I wanted to be among people who were comfortable. I just wanted to kind of sit back and watch. We'll play with that a little bit later on today. Now, once I got in the hang of it, I did 1 speech, and 3, and 5, and 10. Now I think I'm about at 43. I'm having a good time now. But just know that was not always the case. Some people join Toastmasters to get rid of their fear. But I want to actually focus on today why people stay with Toastmasters. The first one is leadership. Say leadership.
Leadership.
I have seen several leaders up here today. You look pretty comfortable, but I was not that person who could lead things because I couldn't even get up and speak. I had an opportunity to start leading club meetings and trainings and now conferences and workshops. It's amazing now the exposure that I've gotten just from stepping out there and trying to get over my initial fear of public speaking. Leadership. The clubs, and this is a really good example, the clubs don't run themselves. Am I right, officers?
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't run themselves. That's the same example with Toastmasters. our Toastmasters meetings are usually broken up into 3 sections, usually prepared speeches, and then impromptu speeches, and then evaluations. And we have reports like you guys have reports as well. But that stuff has to be prepared for. It just doesn't happen automatically. So if you don't have an environment like the Urban League, Toastmasters can serve as an opportunity, as a training ground to help you figure out what needs to be said, what has to be prepared for ahead of time, what follow-up do you have to do afterwards. A lot of that kind of falls on the president that we have, or what we call a vice president of education. What you have on your, or I think you have my resume with you. On the back of that, it's under organizations and professional development or volunteer experience. You should see my Toastmasters experience, and one of those things is vice president education. What that means is I am a subject matter expert on what goes on in the club. I make sure I track everything that's going on with each member. But more importantly, I set the agenda. It is my job to make sure that we have a field agenda and that people are going through the different curriculum points in Toastmasters to help them achieve their personal and professional goals. It's kind of a big job. Some people would argue that the president and this have similar roles, but nevertheless, someone has to do it. Anybody who becomes a member of Toastmasters can learn how to do that. Whenever you take an officer role, there's always training that you have, and there are always what we call Toastmasters legends that are there to walk you through that process, so we never leave you behind. But you always get those opportunities to get more leadership opportunities. So, what's the first reason why people stay? Leadership. The second reason why people stay is documentation, which I think is my most favorite part. For about 3 years, I've been working my tail off for Toastmasters, let me tell you. Some were fun, but some were just like, I'm tired of this. What am I doing this for? Let me tell you why I stayed. I'm in HR, and I read job descriptions all day. Part of my job is to evaluate jobs and set a salary based on the job description and qualifications. There are so many job descriptions that I write that I have to list. Can you have proven verbal and oral communication skills and documented leadership skills? How many times have y'all seen that on a job description? Well, all the work that I have been doing for Toastmasters finally paid off when I figured out how to get it on my resume. Your resume is the first tool that people have to get to know you. But Toastmasters does something else. Yes, you have your resume, but every single, educational moment that we have, or educational level that you achieve, gets documented with Toastmasters International. And I mean international, it's 120 countries around the world. They do what I call the send-off. Every time you reach a level, they will write a personal letter to whomever you choose from the international organization that explains what you just accomplished. So I want you to take a look at the small form that you got. If you have it with me, can someone hold that up with a long sheet? Yes. Thank you. Every level, competent communicator, competent leaders on the back, advanced communicator bronze, and whatever level that you are at, every single level gets a letter to whomever you choose. Now, some people think that you should send that letter to your boss. I say send it to the loudest person you can. You want to be able to prove that you know what you're talking about. If you're going to put on your resume, I have documented experience in leadership or communication, or I've gotten to a certain level in Toastmasters, or I know how to run a meeting, I know how to set up an agenda, I know how to set up a conference, I know how to run a committee, I'm good at project management, or whatever that is that you're trying to work on personally and professionally. Now you have an avenue to tell the loudest person you can that you actually know what you're doing. So for me, that's 2 people. that is my boss's boss. My boss is just gonna look at it, he has before, because I've gotten a few levels. He looked at the letter and he's like, that's real good, actually. It's like, this is not big enough. I didn't tell the right person. So the next level that I got, I sent to my boss's boss, and she said, well, who is this Ashley girl? And she went to my boss and said, who is this Ashley girl? And then I got an opportunity to explain what I've been doing for the last 3 years. That was key number one. The second person that I had my letter sent to when I achieved another level was our public relations department. At Regions, we have a thing called Life at Regions. That's like an intranet where they give news about employees and about policy changes or just whatever they want to highlight for the week or for the day. I sent to that person. That means it went all over the bank. I need people to know what I'm working on, what I'm doing, what I'm trying to get better at. Because when they're looking to get a promotion or just network in general, I want them to know who I am. My dad told me something really cool. It's not necessarily who you know, but who knows you. I don't know where he got it from, but it made all the sense in the world to me. So with that letter that Toastmasters International will provide to you, I hope that if you join Toastmasters or if you know someone who would be interested in this, I hope they would use that avenue to document it properly, but to let the right people know about their progression. The third reason why people stay in Toastmasters is for the networking. A lot like this. Well, I know that Birmingham Urban League is nationally recognized.
Correct.
Oh, well, just take that a little bit larger. When you join Toastmasters, you can literally speak anywhere in the world, where there's a Toastmasters club. Let's say you're on vacation, or let's say you are on a business trip, and you want to get one of your speeches out, or you just want to expand your horizons a little bit, challenge yourself. Let's say you're in London, or Africa, or Asia. You can simply email that group and say, hey, I'm coming. And they'll let you come and speak. And then you can pass out business cards or your books, products, or whatever, but people will start to know about you that aren't in your immediate area. I tried this in Florida. I went and spoke in about 3 cities just while I was on vacation. I called them, emailed them, said, hey, I'm on vacation, I'm coming down. And I want to speak at your club. They were just so excited that someone from out of their area wanted to come and speak. But while I was down there, I picked up other best practices from other clubs, and they got to know who I was. I later got a few calls for some interviews. I couldn't go because I wasn't interested at that point in relocating. But what if I was? I took that opportunity to use the network that I had. Another thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is those 120 countries. Even though we're really all over the world, the official language of Toastmasters is English. It started here. So they will be able to understand you if you decide to take the opportunity to go. Our world champion of public speaking in 2014 came here a few weeks ago. He was amazing, amazing. If you can imagine competing at the level just in your club, maybe 20 people, and then you make it to the area and division and district, which is about 3 states. Then you go to the international competition. If that's what you want to do, to try to challenge yourself. This guy beat out 120 countries. Imagine his impact now. He travels all over the world. Quit his job. Who wants to quit their job today? I like Regions. But just imagine if you pushed yourself enough, what that world could mean or what that world could look like to you. Just know that your network is a welcome network, and it really is worldwide. So the third one is what? Network. I want to, because I think I have enough time, I want to play around a little bit. I need 3 volunteers. Yes. 2 more? Doesn't matter who. Yes, come on, sir. Mr. Herrera. Toastmasters. It's okay. No, I was telling him I learned it from Toastmasters. What's your name, sir? Prince Cleveland. All right, and Mr. Golston. Toastmasters meetings, like I said, are usually broken up into 3 parts. You have prepared speeches where you actually write your speech out, and then later on in the meeting, it's evaluated in the 3rd portion of the meeting. But the middle portion is most people's favorite portion. We call it table topics. You guys are going to participate in table topics. No, there's no table. No table. Let me explain a little ground rules for you. Table topics allows people to practice their impromptu speaking. We know as Toastmasters that you can't always prepare. You know, when you get in the elevator, people say about the elevator speech, sometimes you don't have it ready, but you need to have something impactful to say. Right? Or what about in an interview? I'm an HR. I interview people sometimes, or have when I had a recruiting position. That is a very awkward position if you really don't know what to say, and especially about you and your skills. So I would encourage you just to, as you go through your own resume, just have people ask you random questions and just see how quickly you answer them. Well, Toastmasters has designed a curriculum for table topics where you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay? I'm going to have a little timer on my phone. And the point of the impromptu speaking is you don't know what I'm going to ask. Which is another favorite part of mine, of table topics. All right, so we're going to set this. We're just going to see if you can get to 60 seconds, okay? And some of you may. What I like about table topics is you speak for 1 to 2 minutes, but the people who have a problem developing what they're going to say, it helps you try to practice getting at least to 1 minute to formulate something impactful. But for the people who have not that problem with coming up with what to say, but stopping. Some people say too much, some people ramble too much. Then we usually cut you off about 2 minutes. Who knows somebody talks too much? All right, I know I'm usually that person, but it's okay. All right, so, gentlemen, we are going to try the case of Humpty Dumpty. Is everyone familiar with Humpty Dumpty? All right. I'm going to get you to 1 minute. Y'all recording? Anybody? Okay. So, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
Humpty Dumpty did fall off this wall. He has some injuries.
Yes, ma'am.
He would like a little compensation for that. Okay. So you, sir, are the prosecutor. I want you to try the case as the prosecutor of Humpty Dumpty. Go.
All right, so Humpty Dumpty, you're Humpty Dumpty, right?
No.
Oh, you're not?
You're just talking to the jury.
Okay. So Humpty Dumpty wants to get compensated for falling off of the ledge for having 2 baby mamas. That's it. You pretty much caused that on. Yes, he had 2 of them. He's black. He's not white. So what happened was he got caught cheating. So what he was, he didn't actually did not get pushed off the ledge. He was actually trying to swing on one of them, and he slipped. He was trying to swing so hard, and he slipped. That's what happened. So I want to know why he feels like he should be compensated when he caused those injuries himself. Contrary to popular belief, the stories that you've heard back in the past, those are all wrong. Humpty Dumpty caused those injuries on himself. Yeah, he inflicted those wounds on himself. So he should not be compensated.
Thank you very much. Let's give it a
Contributory.
Humpty Dumpty now has baby mamas, y'all. Sir. I did this at a club, but he didn't have baby mamas then. That's a whole another term. Okay. Sir, you are an eyewitness. You saw this fall. Tell us about it.
Well, I have to say that Humpty Dumpty it has nothing to do with what his race is or what type of baby mamas he has. It's just, I saw it with my own 2 eyes, with my own 4 eyes. Like, I think someone just pushed him. From what I saw, someone pushed him. And I think he should be compensated for that. I mean, really, he's just an egg. He's just sitting on the wall, just enjoying himself, just having a good time. And someone just come up behind him and they just pushes him off. And I think because someone has to be like liable for that wall, because the wall is not there for someone to be just thrown off. I mean, it's there to be enjoyed by everyone. So I definitely feel that he should be compensated for that, because from what I saw from the push, he deserves every penny of it.
Like, look at that.
On the money.
Round of applause. Hey.
All right. Mr. Goldsmith.
Yes.
We've heard from the prosecutor. We've heard from an eyewitness. Now we'd like to hear from you as Humpty Dumpty. Tell us about it.
For generations, I provided your children with a nursery rhyme to ease them, to entertain them. My personal life and my race as an egg, whether I'm a brown egg that's organic or a white egg that's sitting on the shelf, has nothing to do with the case. I failed. And the evidence that's been presented over centuries prove that it was an accident. What y'all don't know is that wall was faulty. Nobody told me that. There were no signs posted. I feel like the builder of that wall, the great wall builder, should pay me my compensation. And with that being said, I can continue providing your little children with entertainment. And there's going to be some toddler one day, and they're going to walk up to you and they're going to say, "Why did y'all vote not to pay Mr. Humpty?" And you're going to break that child's heart. Let's not destroy a good nursery rhyme because this lawyer needs a tailored suit.
Oh. That was good.
58 seconds.
Oh, boy.
That was fun. You're going to have a seat. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Yeah.
I did that just to let you know that sometimes people get a little stuffy with Toastmasters, but it is not designed for that. It is really designed to train you for what's coming outside of here. We want you to network. We want you to have your documentation for what you're working on, and we want you to be able to go over your leadership skills, improve them for whatever professional or personal goals that you have. And I want to definitely thank Mr. Golston. And who's Brian Rice? Is Brian Rice here?
He's not
Not here.
Out of time with his shower.
Okay, and also Ashley Newton, who is not here, for the opportunity to just come and tell you a little bit about Toastmasters. I will stay at the end of the meeting for a little bit to talk with anyone individually if you have further questions or you want to have a particular goal met. And so I can maybe talk to you a little bit about how Toastmasters can meet that particular goal for you. And without further ado, I'll turn it back over to
Hold
President
on 1
Terry.
second, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could you please say something about your resume writing service, please?
Okay.
Please, because I failed to mention that, everybody. She does have a resume writing service, and that's important.
All right, well, documentation is important. So I do help people with their resumes. I did work very hard on trying to figure out how to list my Toastmasters experience, and I can possibly help you figure out how to list your experience. You can contact me at askrashley@gmail.com. Again, that is askrashley@gmail.com, and I will help you as much as I can. Thank you very much. Mr. Kelly.
When the organization discussed doing asking Ashley to come and speak with us from Toastmasters, I thought that was an honor. And first thing I thought about when I was in college 2 years ago, I had a teacher, facilitator, whatever you want to call it, that was part of Toastmasters. And every class made us get up in front of the class and present the assignment. I don't care what it was. And what she did, she had a whiteboard. And when we first started, she'll stand at the whiteboard. We didn't know what she was doing. She was just putting tick marks. And we finally, I don't know, a couple months into the class, a couple weeks, whatever, why was she doing that? Basically what she was doing every time we said the word but I think y'all call them what?
Verbal vocal fillers.
Yeah, fillers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't present a speech in front of someone at an executive level saying, I think. So she taught us how to get that out of our vocabulary. Of course, it stuck with me for a while, but it still come back now and again. But it's not as bad as it used to be. So thank you so much for gracing us with that information. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Tamika